Hey everybody, welcome back. Craig Schaup here with George Thomas, our film critic from the Akron Beacon Journal. George, it's a pretty important day in the movie industry. Mercy is coming out tomorrow, so you have a review of that. But in all seriousness, the Academy Award nominations are out. We will talk about them later. But the big tease from last week's show was the newest movie, Mercy, with Chris Pratt, Rebecca Ferguson, and others. Um, I was very interested to see what you were going to review and give this movie, and obviously we kind of poked a little fun at it last week. But spoiler alert, you actually like this?
Yeah, I'm the only critic in that's a bit of an exaggeration, but close. But
Maybe
yeah,
you're
I
the right
did.
one. Maybe
You
you're the
know,
right one.
I don't know. I think some critics go through the award season and they get so used to that caliber
Mhm.
of film
Right.
that when something that's just mindless entertainment comes along immediately after, they don't want to deal with it. And part
Yeah.
of me gets that, but I walked into the screening yesterday. I had zero expectations, and you're right, we were making fun of it. But you know what? Uh, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce the director's name. I've given up on that years ago. I walked in, and I left very entertained. I'm one of those who was the exact opposite after award season. I watched most of awards contenders, and it's like, okay, I can appreciate those for what they are. I get it. How many of those are actually made for mainstream audiences these days? And there were a couple, obviously, but after wallowing in, I don't even want to say wallowing, enjoying those films, sometimes you just need a palate cleanser. And that's what Mercy served as for me.
Yeah.
It's all well and good. It's a review that I'll likely be made fun of down the line, like I was for Scooby Doo years ago. I'll get over it. It'll end up in some quote, some ad,
Yeah.
and you know it's not as bad as some people are making it out
Right.
to be.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
and I think everybody kind of responds to things differently. And, like you said, I think, fresh off of that award season, and I just think there's this expectation that everything needs to be great, and you're used to seeing the best of the best that the studios have to offer, and you just kind of want to dump on something just because it's not that prestige film at the end of the year. It's a January release, and everybody knows what January is in the month of Hollywood.
and see, I don't think it deserved to be a January release. This is one of those mindless, entertaining films
Yeah.
that would have fit anywhere in the summertime.
Hmm.
And even on one of those throwaway weekends, like in August,
Yeah.
it's still done moderately well. But they chose to stick it in January, and it's like that's fine. It's Minority Report light.
Yeah.
Um, Tries to tackle broader issues of justice and AI.
Yeah.
Chris Pratt plays a cop who's accused. He's not even accused. I mean, he's basically convicted of his wife's murder the minute he sits in this chair at the Mercy Court. He's
Right.
given 90 minutes to try to prove his guilt. Lucky for him, he's a cop and he's got the entire police department, which no one there believes he's guilty. So they're
Yeah.
at his disposal trying to prove his innocence. And I'm sure everybody can figure out how it's going to work out. It's a matter of how they get there. And for me, that was very entertaining because the director and like I said, I'm not going to try and pronounce his name. It's Russian
Yeah.
and it's not easy.
No.
Let's just call him Timur. And I thought he made some entertaining, interesting choices. I mean, it to me was claustrophobic. There's a feeling of claustrophobia with
Yeah.
as Chris Pratt's character is basically handcuffed to this chair
Right.
for the almost the entirety of the film. You get it, the feeling from his perspective. Uh, Ultimately, you can predict where the story is going. You can even predict who the bad guy is. But I like
Yeah.
the fact that there's a debate about where we're headed as a society with AI. The lack of humanity in that technology.
Yeah.
And, you know, I enjoyed it. I'm guilty as charged. And I'll get over it.
Well, sometimes that, like, yeah, it's not going to be for everybody, and it does, it does sort of feel like a derivative property of Minority Report, but that's not it's not the end of the world. And I think, there are elements of timeliness here with our push and pull against AI. And I think that, I've always been intrigued though, these plot devices where they keep like the star of the movie stationary more or less. And here you've got Chris Pratt, an action star, sitting in a chair for most of that movie. I mean, does that work for you, or is that, would you rather see more motion from a guy like him? Because he's, it's not like Phone Booth kind of worked with Colin Farrell, even though it was set in the phone booth, but there was enough tension ratcheted up, I think, with a movie like that, where you could have that plot element where this is where the scene's going to take place 99% of the movie. And like you're talking about here, you've got Chris Pratt, handcuffed to a chair, like watching things play out, right?
We'll see. He's watching things play out, but the director takes you in those scenes too. He's not just watching them; you're in them. And there's some thrilling chases and whatnot. But I think what he was going for basically is that feeling of claustrophobia and helplessness at him not technically not being able to change his situation. So
Right.
now for me it worked. For a lot of others it didn't.
Yeah. Well,
I gave it
a solid B, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess we're kind of in that mode now where it's all technology based. We have the Copenhagen test. This is another Marvel star coming in with Simu Liu. Tell us a little bit about this one.
This makes smart use of technology in that Simu Liu plays a government operative who has his is implanted with a Wi-Fi device that allows him to allows whoever's on the other end of this situation to track his movements, know who he's talking to, and all this stuff. And ultimately, it has to be decided whether his agency is going to take him out or use that technology to their advantage, because no one really thinks he's doing this willingly.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of whether he wants the agent wants to serve as a guinea pig, for lack of a better term. Intriguing premise, plenty of crosses and double crosses. Yep. It's nice to see something, a new original series from Peacock that I hopefully moves the needle some.
Well, they were trying. I mean, they were really going hardcore with the marketing on this. I remember, especially a lot of times during I think it literally had its premiere after a Sunday night football game. Like, they were really trying to hammer home the marketing on this to make sure people were aware that it existed. And like you said, maybe a lot of that's because they're trying to really ramp up some of their, original content on Peacock.
Well, and he should be more mainstream, and I basically wrote that. You hear Simu Liu a lot. You hear his voice and stuff a lot. You don't see the face a lot. Okay. I'm sure he's well respected in the Asian community, but this is a guy who deserves, and I say this as an African American, there's still, the Asian community seems to be even behind where the African American community was
Yeah.
10 to 15 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this
I
is
know
a
what you
guy
mean.
who can act, and he deserves to be seen in mainstream films. He was
Yeah.
good in Barbie. He played a very, very, very vapid Asian Ken. And, I lament the fact that we don't see him more. But,
Yeah. Well,
and,
and it seems like after Shang-Chi came out, he really, I mean, obviously, like you said, he had Barbie, but it's kind of been, not really a big push for him to be, sort of in that mainstream action hero, whatever it may be, or maybe it's part taking on better projects or, whatever it may be. But yeah, like you're right. He was very fun in Barbie as the antagonist Ken, and you're hoping that you see a little bit more from him. Now, obviously, he's going to get back into Avengers stuff coming up, but yeah, I mean, this is
I
definitely
don't
a
think
guy
he's
that has
but I don't think he's in Doomsday. Doomsday, though.
well, and IMDb it does say that he has a credit for an
Okay.
acting credit for Doomsday. Now, it
Well,
also has like another Shang-Chi movie, which I don't know that they're really going into Shang-Chi sequel territory just yet, but it is in pre-production apparently, according to IMDb. So who knows?
yeah, there's somebody huge who's not in Doomsday that I don't know. Maybe it's because I wrote the review that his name stuck with me,
Yeah.
but my mistake.
Well, is the Copenhagen again? This is another one of these. I'm assuming maybe limited series, but I think there's wiggle room for it to maybe be a multi-season series. Is this worth people's time?
Oh, absolutely. And with a spy series, there's always the opportunity for a second season.
Absolutely.
Always.
All right. Well, and obviously, the big news of the day, Oscar nominations came down. The one thing that stood out to me the most was thinking how front loaded it was with certain films. We had 5 films that generated 9 or more Oscar nominations. And then, of course, you can't forget Sinners scoring the most nominations of all time, which is crazy to think, because I mean that's 16 nominations, and of course shattering the previous record tied with many films with 14. But it's been since La La Land since we had a 14 nominated film. I know Oppenheimer was close, but it kind of missed out a little bit there. And it's great to see that Sinners was nominated so much, but I also look at it like, are people going to come back and say, now, see, it's not that great of a film because it might only win 1 or 2 Oscars? What say you about Sinners breaking the all-time nomination record?
I'm always happy to see that when the Academy has a long memory.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. April.
Because
yeah.
I can't. Sinners came out in what?
April.
Or March?
Yeah. April. Yep.
Now, to my recollection, the whenever I'm talking about an early release being nominated for Oscars, I think Saving Private Ryan, because it eventually would go on to win Best Picture.
Mm-hmm. Silence of the Lambs was a February release.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see that they have a long memory.
Yeah.
It's nice to see that Ryan Coogler is finally, and let's face it, this is a huge feather in his cap.
Yes.
Because only elite directors in their films get these kind of nomination numbers. Yes. You're right. He'll probably only win 2, and that's on the Academy. Or there are times I've given up trying to predict what the Academy will do, because sometimes they throw you a curve and then you realize the momentum is swinging in another direction.
That's true.
I'm resisting the urge to play the black card here. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because to me, Coogler has always just been an excellent filmmaker. It's a definite milestone. It's a moment of cultural pride for the Black community. Whether it finds that momentum remains to be seen, but
Yeah,
if you're a fan of horror, you have to be happy with this.
that's true. Yeah, that's something that maybe is lost sight of because of how genre splicing this movie was. But yeah, it is that genre movie at its core in that final hour. And I mean, it's a vampire movie. It's an elevated From Dusk Till Dawn type movie, and it's scoring 16 nominations. That is a milestone in that the genre community.
Yeah, and I don't. I'm just like you. I'm surprised not a lot of people recognize that because they're focused on the other thing.
Right.
And it's like this was just a fantastic horror movie, and horror finally gets the recognition.
Yep.
Gets some recognition. I'm not going to say there are elite horror films. There
Right.
are.
Right.
This is one of them. There haven't been a lot of them that I've ever watched.
Right.
And I make a mistake by wallowing in Reddit too often and reading the assorted awards related subreddits there, and it's like there have been people screaming about the lack of horror recognition in awards films in those subreddits for as long as I've been on the platform, and it's like,
Right.
and the ones they mention, it's like it's garbage. Now it may what a horror film may be within the genre, quote unquote, a masterpiece, but that's a very, very well, all film is subjective, but it's a very niche kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're doing horror in an intelligent way, like Sinners did, as opposed to just a hack and slash kind of way. I mean, one of the best horror films I've ever seen, and I doubt if you've seen it. Sometimes you surprise me. Is a George C. Scott film called The Changeling.
I have not. No.
Good old fashioned ghost story.
Yeah.
There's another one from the early '80s called Ghost Story that had its share of gore, but it was a good old fashioned ghost story. And when I think horror, I think films like that.
Yeah.
And intelligent, well done, great script, great performances, and you don't see a ton of that in horror films. I'm sorry.
Right.
That's just my perception. Anybody out there, feel free to disagree with me. Email me, tell me I'm an idiot, whatever.
Yeah.
But Sinners has elevated the genre.
Yeah, absolutely.
In that it explored relevant themes of today. It had a relatively complex narrative. It had a tremendous dual role performance from Michael B. Jordan.
Yes.
The music is phenomenal. And if best song is lost to that K-pop demon hunters, I may pull out the stubbles of hair I have with tweezers.
Yeah, it's probably trending that way, my friend. But yeah, I know what you mean. That music is so. I mean, it's one of those movies where, as I reflect more on it, I really appreciate what Coogler does there. What his collaboration with Ludwig Göransson, with his collaboration with Michael B. Jordan, and just the ensemble cast that is present, really getting their flowers during this Oscar season to push them into that 16 Oscar plateau. But this is a movie that really, like you said, it people had a long memory of it, which is not usually the case for the Academy. And the fact that they did and this was a good year for film. So I think the fact that they did is a testament to how much staying power that movie has. And then also the longevity that it will have on our society. And I think when you look at that, One Battle After Another, two movies that were very timely and very in the now, just really are going to be thought of years and years and years from now because they're going to have that staying power.
And it's not just that, but there are plenty of films with staying power that you rarely watch again. Mm-hmm. Schindler's List is a masterpiece. I watch it maybe, and I own a copy every other year.
Yeah.
Both those films, Sinners and One Battle After Another, are eminently rewatchable.
They very much so. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I'm talking 4 or 5 times a year. Just they're mood things because they're that good. They're that entertaining. And they're that rare film that has something to say and just entertains the hell out of it. Both of them.
Well, and if not for Sinners, I mean, One Battle After Another, 13 nominations, just one shy of tying the former record. Frankenstein with 9, Marty Supreme with 9. Sentimental Value kind of came in with a late surge, getting 9. Hamnet had 8. So very top heavy, it seemed, with a lot of these nominations, going out to a handful of films. Obviously, there's always going to be surprises, snubs. What did you make of any? I mean, I know we kind of talked about it when they first came out of a potential snub, a complete snub, actually. But what were some of the surprises or snubs that you thought just kind of stood out to you?
Anybody out there who read my Wicked for Good review when I called it a hot mess, and anybody I argue with Reddit, on Reddit, you don't know who I am, but I made my opinion known. I'm not going to say I feel vindicated, but I'm not surprised that Wicked for Good just got totally shut out because that second film was a hot mess. And they didn't even bother recognizing Paul Tazewell.
That's what I was kind of surprised about, though, because even though I know you might argue the costuming was very much similar to the first movie, but, I felt like they did enough with costuming and production design to maybe sneak in there, maybe be like number 5 on there, but, at least be in the categories.
But I agree. But that 10-man costume alone,
yeah,
that in itself is memorable. Yeah. Might be the most memorable part.
And I found it weird, if I'm not mistaken, and I don't want to, speak out of turn on this, but Avatar got a costume nomination.
How do you do that?
And I'm thinking, how is that possible when everything was mocapped? But I don't know. Was it their willingness to try to just get Avatar? But yeah, it's in costume design. And I don't know why it made that list.
Well, it's costume design and not costuming. Maybe that's the big difference.
I guess, yeah. That's true. Any surprises or snubs? I know there's some ones to talk about other than Wicked for Good, obviously, but
within that, Ariana Grande, who was considered a favorite. So, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, obviously, I think maybe the best surprise was maybe Delroy Lindo getting nominated. Yes. He was kind of shut out mostly on a lot of the precursors, which made me think, ooh, man, this might not happen for him, even though the early buzz after the movie released was give this man an Oscar nomination finally. So that was a great surprise, but it might have also meant that Paul Mescal for Hamnet was shut out because of that.
You know what? I don't care.
I'm not saying you should care about Paul Mescal not getting a nomination. It was just one of those where the precursors, they kind of buck the trend on a lot of
I get it, but people are probably shrugging and going, Delroy Lindo.
Yeah.
And you know what? I could talk to you about Malcolm X.
Oh yeah.
I could talk to you about what?
The Five Bloods.
Clockers.
Yeah.
Which is really old school from the late 90s.
Yeah.
Spike Lee film. And I could talk to you even about Get Freaking Shorty.
Yeah.
And this is a man who's had as a character actor, he's had a long and distinguished career.
Absolutely. And I'm glad he's in this category. I'm very much glad he's
in am. And you know what? Given how the Academy works, I would not be surprised if this is one of those quote unquote career achievement Oscars.
Well, but then you've got Stellan Skarsgård, who would also fit into that. It's kind of like the Angela Bassett, Jamie Lee Curtis battle from a couple of years ago, where it was like, which prestige actress is going to win their first Oscar? And I wonder, you're right, but Skarsgård sort of has, I mean, he doesn't have all of the precursors, but he did win the Globe. Obviously, Lindo's in this category for a certain reason. So it's possible that maybe the momentum, now that Sinners has this big record, I think the Academy voters are going to go back in and say, yeah, it shouldn't win just one, not, one or two Oscars. Like, I think it's trending in the right direction for Göransson for score. And I think it's also trending in the right direction for
Original
casting. In screenplay, casting as well, because I mean, you can't really look at it and have 3 acting nominations and not win casting, probably based off of that, when you've got Michael B. Jordan, Lindo, and I'm blanking on her name, the supporting actress.
Wumi.
Wumi, yeah. So I think you're setting yourself up, or maybe it might win 3, which if it wins those 3, those are 3 pretty prestigious awards to win. So,
see, you talk about that casting. You talk about that casting Oscar, and it's a new one. One Battle After Another has 4 acting nominations.
Yeah, that's going to be a battle. That literally, no pun intended there.
No, wait, is it 4 or 5? It's 4.
Well, it's got Penn Del Toro, Tiana Taylor, and DiCaprio. Chase Infinity did not squeeze into the Best Actress category.
They entered her in the wrong category. That's why. Maybe they were looking.
They probably. I think the sentiment, though, that they did that so they could maybe let Tiana Taylor be.
Exactly. They didn't want to split that vote.
Yeah, and I think that honestly that probably will work in their favor, because I think Taylor will probably win that category. I guess the big Infinity replacement would probably been Kate Hudson, right? Although if Hudson doesn't get in, maybe you go to like Jennifer Lawrence for Die My Love, or maybe you go for Amanda Seyfried in The Testament of Anne Lee. So there's other people that could have squeezed Chase Infinity out of there, but I thought, she's trending in the right direction with some of these precursors. So I thought it might happen for her, but she didn't have as much screen time as maybe most lead actresses might in, terms of the bulk of a movie. And even though she was very memorable, she probably was not in the right category. But I think the overarching thing for her is that her time will come probably in the future, because she did show a lot of talent. And I think a lot of prestige directors are going to be like, I want to work with her on my movie. And that's going to get her into that category of being in that Emma Stone, Jennifer Lawrence, like, she's going to be a factor moving forward.
I don't disagree at all. Yeah. And as a first timer, it can be tough.
It can be, yeah. Especially in a lead category. Like if you're in a supporting category, I think all bets are off these days, where you kind of almost skew like really not, I don't mean this as a bad thing, but old and young in those categories. Like you get the veteran actors and actresses versus like the young up and comers that are maybe giving a great performance in a great movie. But yeah, I think, in a supporting category, I think she probably would have got nominated, but then Warner Brothers is looking at it like, well, then they might split the vote between her and Tiana Taylor. And if they do that, then we might not win anything from that category. Even though One Battle will win plenty of awards, but
I think Warner Brothers is safe, giving them the top 2 films.
They do. 30 nominations. That's crazy. But 29 of them came from 2 films, which is even more unique. But were you surprised at Kate Hudson? I know you like Song Sung.
Yeah,
but were you surprised that she got in?
I'm surprised she got in. I get the nomination though. She was very good. She was tremendous, and I liked the movie. I love the performance. And it made me remember why Kate Hudson was once the darling of film. And we're going back.
Yeah.
We're going back to the early 2000s when she was
Almost Famous. Yeah.
Yeah. And Almost Famous is one of my favorite coming of age films.
It's a great film. Yeah.
It's just brilliant. Talk about Oscar snubs. There you go. but but it surprised me, but I got no problem with it because she was that good.
Yeah. You know, off of the momentum I think that Marty Supreme had gotten over the last, month, obviously after its release and everything, and everybody could confirm that it was as great as a lot of the critics and, industry leaders said it was going to be. I was kind of hoping maybe sneaking in there Odessa Zion with her, performance, opposite Timothy Chalamet, maybe could get into supporting category, but I think she just kind of got squeezed out, and that happens. But I was, I think the momentum was kind of trending in the right direction. I think she got an actor award nomination, but maybe her time will come too. But that was probably another one of those acting snubs that it's like you just throw it up in the air and you can just pick what name you want, and that person could fit into the category.
I mean, she did a hell of a job playing against the chaotic Timothy Chalamet.
Oh yeah,
matching him step for step, and what was curious to me about that portrayal, she went from, I don't want to say mild mannered, but by the end of the film, she really ramps it up to match his energy. You know what I mean?
yeah. She's kind of, yeah. She's a little bit weaker, a little bit passive, and then all of a sudden, when it's like, she becomes part of the hustle in
Yes.
Marty Supreme. Like Marty's always on the hustle because he's trying to make things better for himself, and she's kind of in the shadows of that for most of the movie. But then she kind of realizes like this is her chance to get to where she wants to get to, and then she kind of comes out of her shell a little bit. That it was a really good performance, and I think that who are you going to squeeze out? Elle Fanning, maybe. I don't know. Masaku. Somebody would have had to go, and then you would have to be like, well, they could have been in. So it's really like just throw it up there, and whoever falls first is going to get nominated. And it could be, outside of maybe Tiana Taylor, you could have argued for anybody to be interchangeable with anybody else.
Yeah. No argument
What
for
about,
me.
what about directing? Directing was sort of everybody was kind of wondering what was going to happen. I think we knew Coogler, PTA, Safdie, and Chloe Zhao, but then,
sentimental value has just been creeping up.
It has, and I was surprised because Frankenstein also was creeping up, and of course, this means Guillermo del Toro did not make it in because Trier made it in.
How many nominations is this? This is where it gets political. How many nominations has he had for best director?
And he does have a screenplay and best picture nomination, so his name is fully in the Oscars, even though del Toro did not get into the best director category.
And he deserved to be there because he made the definitive version of Frankenstein, as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
It had everything, the look, the terror. There was really terror there.
Yeah.
And it was emotional and true to that 1931 classic. Was it? What year did the Universal classic come out?
I believe 31, maybe 30.
Yeah, it had the spirit of that one, and that's it was wholly original. And that's difficult to pull off.
Right.
So he deserved to be in Best Director. It's just you only have 5, and he's got some hardware already. So
he does, yeah. Even though his hardware for The Shape of Water should have been hardware for Pan's Labyrinth, but that happens in Hollywood basically every year. Everybody wins something for something that they should have won, that they lost for 10 years ago or whatever. But that happens. Is there a one thing, one movie, one performance, one costume design, whatever it may be, that you thought should have been nominated that didn't squeeze in?
You know what? If Delroy Lindo had not,
Mm-hmm.
that would have been it.
Yeah.
Since he did, I can't claim that.
Yeah.
Kevin Leary and
okay,
and Marty Supreme. For a
Yeah.
financial guy, and I think that was his first film, he
Yeah.
was like, "All
He
right,
was he was pretty ruthless as an antagonist there. Yeah.
wonder where you got that from," but never mind.
Yes.
But I wouldn't have minded seeing his name on that list.
Yeah. That was a tough category. That was just one of those categories where, because there was a lot of early buzz, months and months ago for Adam Sandler, and obviously he didn't make it. Paul Mescal didn't make it. So there's a lot of, talent on the cutting room floor that I think it would have had to have been just a transformative performance from Leary for him to score a nomination his first time out, and obviously a lot was talked about with like Dwayne Johnson not getting a best actor nomination because, well, he gave his best performance ever in The Smashing Machine. Well, some people will say, so what? Do it again, and then we'll nominate you.
And that's exactly it. They the voters, they want to see him do that again.
Yeah.
And that's akin to them saying, okay, you showed us something. What are you going to do now?
And he's proven that and he's proven he can be there. And maybe that, he's going to be in a Scorsese movie here in a few years, possibly. So, I mean, obviously there's a lot of people that you only get so many spots. It's, that's why I kind of still prefer Best Picture to be 5, only because, everything else is 5 and you kind of water down the most prestigious picture with having 10 slots. Whereas you don't want to go to 10 directors, you don't want to go to 10 actors, supporting, screenplays, whatever, and so forth. So is there a happy medium between maybe going to 7 in each category for sure, and then 10 Best Picture, or you stay at 5?
No, I think 10 is fine. You want to know why? Because they're trying to match AFI in the National Board of Review. And I think that's what it is.
Yeah, but AFI, this is like I'm not, discrediting AFI. I think AFI is fine, but they put like Wicked for Good and Avatar on there only because they have to, right? Like, oh well, we got to put, 2 of the bigger movies released this year on there, right? I mean, there's no real rhyme or reason to having Avatar or Wicked for Good on their AFI definitive top 10 list of American movies.
I guess you have to acknowledge entertainment. I mean, entertainment value in this case. I mean, F1 made best picture.
Well, the Oscars kind of did, didn't they, with putting, F1
Oh yeah,
in their top 10. I mean, they put, F1's, secured a spot there. I mean, I don't know. I'm again not discrediting AFI or anything like that. It's just, I think sometimes they sort of buck the trends too. Like they had Jay Kelly in their top 10. Jay Kelly didn't even get a single nomination, despite having a lot of awards prestige involvement with, Noah Baumbach and George Clooney and others. It didn't even score anything, not even a screenplay, and that's like the sweet spot for Hollywood. That's a movie about movies, right? A movie about an actor and about the movie making industry. And usually those movies just, the Academy fawns over those.
Yeah, you asked for surprise. You know what? You and I both decried the fact that Disney basically ignored Elio. And I didn't get up to watch the nominations because 5:30 is a bit.
Yeah.
Well, that was 5:30 Pacific, so never mind. I was up at 8:30, but I had other stuff to do. But I look at the nominations like Elio, very good, and I was happily surprised with that because Disney treated it like the redheaded stepchild. And
they did.
And it's nice to see that there was some vindication there. It really was.
They seem, I think the Academy seems to generally get the nominations right for animated feature, at least. Maybe not necessarily the winner all the time, but I think, Elio being in there really made sense for me. I think it's, look, it's not going to win any like my favorite Pixar movies, but it's a very good movie that was just criminally underlooked by audiences, and a lot of it was because of Disney just fumbling that ball over and over again. So yeah, it's obviously has no chance at winning with K-pop Demon Hunters, probably guaranteed to win. But what do you think the most? Yeah, what do you think's the most competitive category here? What do you think is maybe you have no lock or no even thought of a lock at this point of who could win for any category?
Probably supporting actor.
I was going to say that too because it on the surface, I think after watching the movie, I would have said Sean Penn is all. I'm all in on Sean Penn for One Battle After Another. I understand the Benicio del Toro love because I love Benicio del Toro and he's hilarious and he's very memorable in that movie, even in his
two very different performances.
Oh, yeah. It was so funny. Someone I don't remember who because I had to quickly just wash it from my mind, but someone wrote like Sean Penn was too evil to win an Oscar for that performance, and I'm like, have you never seen like Inglourious Bastards or No Country for Old Men or Silence of the Lambs? Like these characters usually win those
Schindler's
awards.
List.
Schindler's List. Like they usually win those acting categories when they're just the seediest of seedy people. And I'm thinking, who thinks of this stuff and thinks, oh, he's too evil? Like, no, that's usually who wins these awards because they get the juiciest roles. But and then Stellan Skarsgård, though, it's going to be an interesting category.
See, Sean Penn is known for being grumpy. He's not known for being overtly evil. He punched a photographer or two in his younger years.
Yeah. I mean, I think his performance, obviously Del Toro's won some of the precursors, and then, Skarsgård obviously has now too. I just wonder, but then like you mentioned earlier, Delroy Lindo, maybe he's going to be that betting favorite now that the nominees are out and people are like, yeah, maybe we should just give it to him because it's his time, or whatever it may be. Everybody with the exception, obviously Skarsgård and Lindo and Elordi don't have Oscars, but you could maybe say, well, Sean Penn already has two, and Del Toro has, or Benicio del Toro has one. You really need to like dip back into that pool, but sometimes I've always hated that politicking about the Academy, where it's like, well, this person's already won one, we don't need to win 12, so let's just have him win the one and that's it. Like you just gotta award the best performance, in this case, the best supporting performance. And if you think that's Sean Penn or Del Toro, then go for it.
Well, and I completely, totally agree. I mean, Al Pacino should have probably had 2 or 3 Oscars prior to Ascent of a Woman. And I say that partially because of the politicking.
Yeah.
And I think that was a makeup award. And that award cost Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
Who gave the performance of the year that year with Malcolm X.
Yeah.
And as gracious as he was, Denzel said in more than one interview that if anyone except Pacino had won, he would have been a bit pissed. I get that.
I get that. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we've had so many of those. I mean, Scorsese obviously won for The Departed, which, The Departed's a lot of fun. I really loved it. It's entertaining. It's entertaining as all get out, but it's not his best. It certainly is not. It's not as good as Goodfellas. It's not Raging Bull. Like there's so many other things you could. Spike Lee is another example. DiCaprio is an example where DiCaprio wins for The Revenant when he probably could have won for The Wolf of Wall Street, or several other performances that I think that he's had a better performance in. So it just happens, but maybe that's a good thing though, because maybe someone like Delroy Lindo goes from not the betting favorite to the betting favorite because people think there might be a groundswell of support, and I wouldn't be opposed to seeing that, but that's going to be a very difficult category to handicap going into the award season.
I could tell you who won't be winning in Best Actress because of all that.
Emma Stone.
There we go.
But you know what, though? You say that, and I totally agree with you. But you say that And yet everybody thinks like, well, the Academy is going to be like, we can't give her a nomination every movie she makes. And then they kind of do, right? Like, I mean, it's like
You
at
got
some
game, you got
point,
game.
well, no, and trust me, I think she's among the greats working today. But then you also think like, well, maybe Chase Infinity deserved a spot, or whoever it could be, But Emma Stone is just the Academy darling, who's going to probably have one of those, Meryl Streep type careers where she's going to get 15, 16, 17 nominations because A, I think she chooses the right projects, but B, she's also got the talent and is loved by the Academy, and that's why they tend to just default to her in a lot of ways.
You mentioned Happy Surprises earlier.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've watched Train Dreams yet.
Have not.
It won't win. I don't think it's going to win, but I thought it was a beautiful film, and beautiful film with something to say. And it again, I should stay off Reddit, but I wade into those waters, and a lot of people don't get why Train Dreams was nominated for anything. Like, it helps me to realize why theatrical is still struggling in some ways. I don't think audiences are as sophisticated as they used to be. And I don't know if that's because of the pandemic or what, but it's like Train Dreams was a film you had to spin gray matter to understand. And it basically took and I didn't review it, but it took a situation where, quote unquote, it's the story of a man losing his family. But, the director's name isn't going to flow out of my head like that, but he takes that and asks a basic question about people who are considered hermits or odd, and Joel Edgerton's character shows that anybody could be that person. And it was an excellent character exploration. And it's one of those that I might watch again on a weekend day with no football.
Yeah.
Or a summer day a summer night when I got nothing better to do.
Yeah.
It was that good to me, but I think it went over a lot of people's heads, and that's disappointing.
Yeah.
I think it's because of that sophistication thing, and it's like not everyone's going to be like you or me. I mean, you're the biggest, quote unquote, cinema wonk I know.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that.
And not everybody is like that. It's all entertainment.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny. I don't know if you saw the Matt Damon and Ben Affleck interviews, but Matt Damon was basically saying now it's funny too, because of course they had The Rip on Netflix, and of course Train Dreams also on Netflix. And, Damon was talking about the idea that they had to reiterate the plot like 3 or 4 times because people would be on their phones. And here you've got this like Oscar-y prestige movie that's also from the same studio or streaming service, but it's very interesting. Do you have a lock or any like a hot take lock that you think any category could be any category, but maybe it's a hot take, maybe it's a lock that you just know, write it in stone?
In a weird category, not weird, but best international feature.
Okay.
I think it's going to be The Secret Agent.
Well, that seems to be,
That's going to be the consolation prize for not winning anything else, I think. That's a lock for me.
Yeah. I think my guaranteed lock, I think Timothée Chalamet is winning for Marty Supreme. If he doesn't, I suppose Leo DiCaprio. But here's the thing. We talked about the Academy being in love with Emma Stone. I know they appreciate DiCaprio's talent because he gets nominated quite a bit, but he doesn't win a lot, which is another way of saying we like you, but we don't love you. And I think the Academy is going to say, we're going to give Chalamet his early flowers and then he can be whatever he is the rest of his career. But I think it's going to be Chalamet.
You know who he's gonna be the rest of his career? Leonardo DiCaprio.
He's going to be DiCaprio, yeah.
And this is him saying, "Yeah, we like you. Here's your award, kid. Go do whatever you want."
But the thing is with him, and like we talked about with him and Austin Butler, Michael B. Jordan, like these people do not take just random throwaway genre movies, whatever it may be, skate by, get your $20 million freight and just make some crappy movie. Like these three actors are like in it and they're making wise decisions like DiCaprio did as a young actor. And that's going to parlay them into multiple Oscar nominations for all three of those men as they move forward in their career.
You know what DiCaprio is absolutely fantastic in? Gangs of New York.
He was. It's not my favorite Scorsese, but I get it. Like its production design's great. It's gritty. It feels like on the streets, you know, like you feel the production design and everything, but not my favorite, like especially not rewatchability wise from Scorsese, but I know what you mean. It is a very handsomely produced movie.
And his performance is right there. And
it is, yeah.
So is Daniel Day-Lewis's.
Oh, Daniel Day-Lewis. Yeah.
Speaking of multiple Oscar nominees.
Multiple Oscar wins. I mean, you know, an all-timer. And he isn't, I mean, he obviously was in his son's film last year, but you know, a guy that's taken a back seat in his career and just retired. But yeah, I mean, he's an all-timer, but yeah, I mean, that's what I see with people like Chalamet and Michael B. Jordan and Butler, like three people that are just, you know, I don't always like to use the word method actor because it always gets a negative connotation. And I think rightfully so at times it can, especially if you're like Jared Leto, you know, sending used condoms to Margot Robbie on the set of Suicide Squad is weird. But those three actors just delve into this world and become these characters. Like it was not some hokey premise that Michael B. Jordan played two twin brothers. Like he was invested into these characters and it showed, and they were both their own individual selves too. It wasn't like he was, oh, I'm playing this character with one, you know, part of a mustache and this guy has a goatee and they're the same people, they talk the same. Like he made them feel different and unique, and it was just a testament to his performance. And I'm glad that he was thought of at the end of the year, because like you said, the Academy can sometimes really get the brain rot once the summer, you know, once you get into the summer, and especially in the spring, like Sinners was in, by the time you get into Toronto and the fall festival circuit, you forget a lot of that summer and spring movie. And I'm just so glad that at first I was like, I would love to see him be nominated, but I just didn't know if it would work because it's April. There's going to be so many other great performances that come out. It's going to be hard to like carry that over. And stupid me not thinking, yeah, this guy dominated this movie. He was that movie and he deserved all the flowers. And honestly, if I could pick like a winner outside of Chalamet or DiCaprio, obviously be him. And I know that you're like, well, he's third out of fifth, but you know, that's just a testament to those other two performances being so great. Like, I think it's one of DiCaprio's best performances ever. He is so fun in that movie, but also kind of grounded, and like you feel that character. You don't feel like it's Leonardo DiCaprio playing this, you know, blazed out stoner, you know, revolutionary. You feel like he is Bob Ferguson. Like he feels like that. Chalamet also feels like Marty Supreme. Like he feels like Marty Mauser. He doesn't feel like he's a gimmick. He really just like, it's an anxiety inducing movie, obviously, because it's a Safdie movie, but he's at the center of all of that anxiety. And I think he does a great job. And I think that's probably why he'll end up winning. But that's a great category. Ethan Hawke is always, you know, Ethan Hawke. And then, you know, Wagner Moura obviously has, you know, turned a lot of heads this year as well.
You know what? And just to go off track, I finished The Lowdown with Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
today.
He's great. Like, he's just great, and he could do anything. Like, he's not just, like, gotta be pigeonholed into something, like, he's not some genre actor, like, he's a guy that can just do anything and play any character, and he's kinda one of those actors that I don't know if a lot of mainstream people know him. They might know the name, but they might not, "Oh, yeah," he's just that character actor that is elevated character actor, and he's like, among those best character actors working because he can just fully get himself immersed into a character, and obviously comes out with an Oscar nomination as usual for him. But it's good to see his name in there because he's always great. But I think outside of like Training Day, most people don't really think of Ethan Hawke or know Ethan Hawke in the mainstream, but they should if they don't.
Oh, absolutely. And he's been doing it for close to 40 years now.
Yeah, that's unique. That's a unique skill that he's had, and just a testament to his talent too. But is there a category where you hope someone will win that they won't, and maybe outside of Delroy Lindo, if you may?
Actually, I think Delroy Lindo's going to win that, but that's
Okay,
just me.
okay.
Um, um, yeah, I really hope Michael B. Jordan does win because it's again, I'm going to wade into that Reddit pond again where people are saying he can't act, and it's like, okay, this guy's got 2 Emmys. I think he's got at least one because he's 37. I watched him on All My Children 20 years ago. He won an daytime Emmy years ago.
Yeah.
He can act his ass off, and it's like it's disappointing to hear or read people say he cannot. I mean, let's be honest. He gave probably the best performance in Black Panther.
He did. He was a great villain.
As much as I love Chadwick Boseman in the title role,
Yeah.
I mean, Michael B. Jordan had it all. And it wasn't a hand-wringing, mustache twirling villain.
No.
It was subtle. It was malevolent.
It cut deep.
And and it was emotional. It was emotional.
Yep.
And I don't think he got a nomination behind that. So if I'm rooting for one, I'm rooting for Michael B. Jordan. I really am.
That's a great choice. He is, and I know we talked about Chalamet and Butler a lot over that fall season, but we also should throw in Michael B. Jordan because he's another one of those younger actors that just looks like he is on the trajectory of having whatever career he wants to have. And I think he's, again, going to choose the right projects 99% of the time. And obviously working with Ryan Coogler doesn't hurt. But I think that Michael B. Jordan is a guy that knows what to choose, when to choose it, and most importantly, I think who to work with. Like, I think sometimes actors and actresses get into this mindset where, I want to work with like Tom Cruise did it a lot with Joseph Kosinski and other people where, he was maybe trying to elevate younger directors or whatever. But, Butler and Chalamet and Michael B. Jordan, like, they just know how to choose the personnel associated with that movie, like who's writing it, who's behind the camera.
Wow, he was nominated for an Oscar. Oh, that's this year. Yeah. IMDb updated already.
IMDb already updates. They updated already. Yep.
But see, here's the thing about him. He's more Denzel, and Chadwick Boseman would have been this way. He's more Denzel than Wesley Snipes, if you know what I
mean. Yeah.
What you said about choosing projects, absolutely correct. He seems to be in it for the art.
Yes.
More than anything. A nice paycheck is nice, but he seems to be in it for the art. and he's going to
Right.
continue to choose his roles correctly for the very reason you said.
Well, and even if the paychecks are nice, I got to pay the mortgage kind of thing. Look at who he's choosing to work with. You know, he does Black Panther. He's doing Miami Vice. You know, he's working with people that, whether it's the directing team or the writing staff, like he's understanding the assignment of who to work with. And look, I mean, say what you will about Tom Cruise, whether you like him or not, but when Tom Cruise is like, I want to work with you, I think that speaks volumes of you in that art form. Like, Tom Cruise is an all-timer
Yeah.
when it comes to this game. And the fact that he's like, oh, I saw Sinners and I want to work with Michael B. Jordan, that means something. That's not, and I don't think that's a throwaway. Like, I think that's Tom Cruise being like, I want this to happen.
Yeah, he doesn't throw out a lot of compliments or make statements like that.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot to like. Well, any other final thoughts about the Academy Award nominations? Obviously, we'll have to wait until March, and we'll feverishly be working on our predictions in advance of that. But any other final thoughts on the Academy Awards?
I will be planning my Oscar party. Sorry you can't be here.
Well, we will be going to our own Oscar party. We have a great Oscar party with our friends at the Tennesseans, so I'm excited about that once again. I already have my wife and I, on the way home from Marty Supreme, had a dish that we have in mind that we're going to cook. We'll actually make for the movie. Maybe we'll have to tell you off screen, but very excited about that as we do movie themed food. So I'm excited about that. And I'm sure, do you do the same then? Do you have like movie themed food items or just whatever?
Beyond movie candy, and this probably won't surprise you. I have it's not one of the mini ones. I have a movie theater popcorn machine.
Okay. Yeah.
Kettle and all. It's a decent size one. It's probably mid-range, as opposed. I'm sure you've seen the smaller ones. No, I got
Yep.
And we do that. Maybe I'll change it up this year. I haven't really done an Oscar party in a while because of what I went through.
Yeah.
So I'll talk to my son. I'll talk to my wife, and we'll go from there. But
all right.
But we're gonna figure something out.
Okay. Well, I know we're still in the doldrums of Hollywood's slum here in January, even though Mercy might be the early Oscar favorite, for 2027. Do you have anything coming up for next week?
Shelter is screening here next week.
Okay.
John Statham.
Okay.
So I'll have that. I have been streaming wise. I watched Shrinking.
Okay.
And the new Marvel Cinematic Universe. Well, it's not cinematic. It's Marvel Spotlight because it's television.
Okay.
TV series Wonder Man. I've got a couple episodes left in that to get to tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, I'm very interested about that. Yeah.
I'll talk to you off screen.
Okay. The reason why I'm interested in that is because for whatever reason or another, I don't think he's become as big of a star as he should, but Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, he was in Watchmen on the HBO series Watchmen, and I thought he was fantastic. Obviously, he was also Aquaman, even though I didn't care for Aquaman, but he was Mantis in Aquaman. But I always thought that guy had some leading man abilities that just weren't unlocked yet.
I agree, and I think he's doing what Michael B. Jordan did and what Chadwick Boseman was doing. I think he's just being picky about his roles and knowing when to take his swings. And it's like, I get it. It's called playing the long game, and it's like, I mean, nothing wrong with that. So there's that, and there's Shrinking.
Okay.
Love Shrinking.
All right. Sounds great. Well, as always, George, we appreciate your time. You can read everything that George writes at beaconjournal.com. You can watch his reviews of movies that he decides to record reviews for, which are always fun. George, we hope that you have fun streaming. And if you get out to the theater, we hope you have a safe travel and a fun time.
I'm gonna try, but there's a big snow. You're getting snow this weekend,
We
aren't
are
you?
going to get like snowpocalypse up down here in Middle Tennessee, so there's a lot
So
of
what?
fear.
That's an inch. That's an inch, right?
Well, actually, we could get as much. Initially, when I looked at the phone, it was supposed to be like 15 inches. That was a couple of days ago. Now it's going to be closer to like maybe 6 with
In
some
Middle
ice.
Tennessee, you guys don't
We
know
are
what
going
you're
to. We went to the store today, and there was not a lot of selection of bread and milk and eggs. That's for sure. So everybody's readying for the apocalypse.
So I'm sorry, Southerners don't know what to do with that kind of snow.
We don't know. They don't know what to do with like a dusting of snow, George. So yeah, this is going to be very interesting. Probably a lot of people not knowing how to drive and a lot of cars and ditches, I would imagine.
It's hilarious. The year I lived in Alabama, we got like quarter of an inch of snow,
Yeah.
and there was a snow day.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They're already talking about like cancellations because I mean it's going to last until like Sunday night and everything. But yeah, they're already talking cancellations for early next week, and of course, we're going to be in a little bit of a cold spell too. So it's not going to be one of those classic. Oh, it snowed in Tennessee, and then the next day it's like 55 and it melts everything, and you forgot that it snowed. We're actually going to probably see the snow on the ground for a few days, but we'll get by. I think this will give us a great opportunity. I've already talked to my wife about maybe doing some movies this weekend, staying in and not going anywhere and just watching some movies, trying to catch up on some things. We are the proud owners of Netflix now, not owning the actual streaming site, although that'd be great for the pocketbook. But we do have Netflix now, so there are some movies that I'd like to get on the docket for us.
Which ones? Just
Train Dreams for both of us, and I think she would be okay with that. I'm still trying to maybe see about Frankenstein, although I don't think that's going to go with her. But if I have to, I'll watch it on my own. But I'm trying to coax her into Frankenstein. But
not a lot of gore in that one. Do
Not
it! Do it!
George says do it, so we're going to do it. All right. Well, George, we will talk off screen, but we appreciate you stopping by. And thanks for all your takes, and we will see you again next week.